Hey, Cameron, can you hear us?
Yes. Yep. Come through.
Sweet. All right. Let's go. Try to get this fixed. Sorry. There we go. All right. It's not gonna make any noise. I'm gonna turn this off.
What is going to be?
These things are an enigma. I do not understand how these buttons work.
Yeah.
There we go. Okay, thanks for turning that off.
Yep.
All right, I'm gonna go share my desktop so people can see what's going on. Go ahead and share this screen. Hopefully you can see that just fine, I believe. Yep, the recording is started, just so everybody knows it's being recorded. Cool, all right. So in lieu, my mini PC is dead and we can't do the lab, unfortunately. So we're gonna have to put a pin in the Windows hardening probably till next week. Gotta get a new CMOS battery and then we can do the lab. So in lieu of that, I'm going to install Proxmox from start to finish on the laptop that we attacked last time. So, yeah,
The announcement for today's meeting says T222, not T219, by the way.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. I appreciate that. Sorry about that. Hopefully nobody's over there right now. I'm going to go fix that. I got it wrong twice. Dang. There we go.
You say the second floor T building at this point.
Yeah, they'll find us somewhere. All right, I'm going to pull up the tools. So let's get, and then I think I already have Ventoy installed on one of these USBs, but I'm going to just go ahead and flash it real quick if it isn't. So here's the three tools that I brought up in the previous meeting. Let me see what I have as USB.
Do you want one? I've got a.
You have an empty one that's not.
I have a Debian one that you can override.
Yeah, I mean, let me see what I have real quick, and then if I have something else, I have like I have a dozen or so, so I don't really want to like.
I've never installed using it, so you can feel free.
All right. Let's see what I got. Sorry, this is very impromptu. I was not prepped as much as I should have been for this. Yeah, this one has, we'll just flash it. Why not? Doesn't seem to have anything important on it. So there's a couple tools you can use. There's Rufus. If you're installing Windows, I would recommend using this tool. I mean, you can use Ventoy, but like this gives you like a script to edit the Windows installation. Balena Etcher is pretty good. This is a great tool if your flash drive's not working. It can. I've had it fixed flash drives for me before, so it also can flash very similarly to Rufus, but it kind of is a one-time purpose kind of thing. Both of these tools, your USB drive is going to be only used for starting whatever operating system you put on it. Yeah, sir, go ahead.
So you can't reflash another operating system onto that?
Oh no, yeah, you can do it as many times as you want, but
okay.
like you're not gonna. You could use it to transfer files, but like it's gonna be less efficient. And depending on what operating system you're installing, like it may do some weird stuff to the USB drive, which may make it not appear correctly in Windows or Linux or whatever you're plugging it into. So like it's not gonna break your USB.
Yeah.
Sometimes, depending on how old it is, but that's more of a hardware problem than a software problem.
Okay.
Is
there a benefit to having single operating systems on a USB comparative to like, I know like for specific US or not US, Unraid. Yeah. It works off of USB, so I know that for that one specifically, having a single USB with that operating system would be beneficial, but is there a pro and con between having like a single operating system on a USB or having the multiple operating systems to boot off a single USB? You know what I'm saying?
If you were doing a lot of testing
Yeah.
on operating systems, it makes sense to do that. To do like Ventoy, for example, which is what I'm gonna demo.
Okay.
Just because you can see right here, it gives a little boot screen, and so let me pull it up. There we go. If you were like, I wanted to try this, then it's really easy to just load it up with all the operating systems, as opposed to just doing it like, I mean, I've done it this way because I'm
Same.
boneheaded. I'm just like, flash it.
Yeah.
It's more intensive for the flash drive, I think, to do that, but it doesn't, also doesn't matter that much. Like whatever works, right? So, all right. Let me get this. Go ahead and download the Ventoy. Just has a little exe you can get, and so you can just download it for whatever operating system you have. I'm going to put this on my desktop.
Please sort.
I feel that.
And then we're going to go here. And I'm going to go ahead and extract that real quick so I can get the exe. And then while I'm extracting this, I should also probably be grabbing the Proxmox ISO. So if you go to Proxmox's website, they have a couple of different options. They offer a lot of different products. They have like a backup server, mail gateway. These are all free. They do offer enterprise solutions, but their main operating systems they have a community edition of. And so it's as simple as going to their downloads page, selecting the virtual environment. This is the hypervisor right here. And as I mentioned before, I don't know if I said this when I was in the call, but this is based off of Debian. So this is literally Debian. You could just use Debian if you wanted to, and then just set this up if you wanted to get the technical know-how. But Proxmox just has everything set up for you, has a nice UI, everything. So I do recommend this if you're starting out. So I'm just going to go ahead and download it directly off of their web servers. And so I'm just going to go ahead and put it in this folder. And yeah, so I've extracted Ventoy. And it gives you this Ventoy to disk.exe. And I can just go ahead and run this. It's asking me if I want to approve. And then gives you this little thing, and it kind of will tell you, you want to be kind of careful with this. If you have a bunch of like drives plugged into your computer, for example, like an external hard drive or whatever, this will also show up on that. So you could flash the wrong thing. Make sure you're choosing the right device. I'm going to choose this PNY USB 2.0. Seems like it actually has Ventoy installed already, but we're just going to go ahead and just reinstall it. Yeah, it seems like there's a more updated version than what's on here. And yep, it just kind of warns you, like, make sure you have the right device. I do. I'm going to say yes. And I'm going to say OK. Yep. And it even warns you again. Even one more time. And so this is going to completely wipe what's on this drive right here. Ooh, and it's going to open up in Windows. So if I go to my computer, should be able to see the drive. Once it is done formatting, it'll look just like an empty drive. It has these folders right here, but essentially, yeah, it's just this Ventoy, and there's nothing in here. And so it is as simple as opening up your drive and bringing on the ISO. So we're going to go back to our downloads folder. Let's see. Well, it still needs a little bit of time. Let me go ahead and show the laptop real quick. So right now I have it booted on. What you would do is you turn it off first, and I believe it's enter on these ThinkPads, which is kind of unusual.
Yeah.
It's still on. Hold on. Get this thing fully turned off. A lot of computers, it's going to be like F1, F2, F3, F12. Like a lot of the function keys are kind of that's how you get into what we're going to get into called a BIOS. A lot of modern operating systems, this is very confusing. You may see two things. You may see UEFI or BIOS. They essentially mean the same thing. So it's the firmware on the actual motherboard that is responsible for booting into an operating system. So it's independent of an operating system, independent of Windows, Linux, whatever it is. It's going to be on every computer for the most part. There are some exceptions, but that'll be something I can get into later. But yeah, any normal Windows computer will have a BIOS. And so to get into the BIOS on this computer, I'm pretty sure you just spam the Enter key, and oh, I'm not kind of on the camera, sure. Sorry about that. So it kind of opened up this little menu, and it says, what do you want to do? I'm going to press F1 to enter the BIOS utility. And now that I'm in there, actually, wait, there might be a better way to do this, so I don't have to like share you guys. You can just look at the screen. You go here. There we go. Okay. And so I'm trying to. So I'm basically in this BIOS screen right here, and from there I'm going to go over to the startup section. It's not going to be the same for every BIOS. Every BIOS kind of has a different layout, but generally, yeah, you go over to a startup or you look for something called boot, and then we're going to go to. You can see there's that UEFI. And we're going to select the boot order right here. So we go over to boot. You can see what we have right now, which is that we have a hard drive. We have a couple different options, but they're not there. Let's see. There it is. So you're looking for USB, and you're going to want to make that kind of the priority. It's not going to let us do it because it doesn't recognize a USB device because we don't have one plugged in right now. But, oh, I think this is it too. So let me just, it's a little tricky. You got to like press the plus button, I think. Yeah, there we go. So I'm going to put USB above. And so basically this is the hard drive. That's what has Windows 7 installed on it right now. But we're going to make it boot from the USB instead. And so if I go back to the downloads, yep, we have Proxmox downloaded as an ISO. So then I can go to this folder here, and I'm going to open this. I'm going to go ahead and put this on the side, and we're going to grab the Ventoy, and we're going to go ahead and just copy this Proxmox ISO over here. And then, yeah, I'll just give it a second. It's kind of a big file.
Would you happen to have any recommendations of like a group of ISO files to download?
I would recommend getting yourself a copy of Debian. That is a very useful operating system you will use a lot of. I think the latest version is 12. It's called Bookworm. I think that's right. I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that. Let me double check. Let's go here.
I think 13 is soon, but it's still 12.
Yeah, it's still at 12 right here. So that's the latest version. It's a very slow moving operating system, but that's why people use it, because it's like reliable. Like you can trust that it's going to work the same way for a lot of things. And it's Ubuntu, which is probably the Linux operating system you have heard of. Yeah. This is based off of Debian. So it's like a faster moving version of Debian. It's the most popular. If you are starting out with Linux, use Ubuntu. Use Ubuntu or Linux Mint. Those are the two I would recommend if you're trying to use a desktop environment. Or if you're doing a server, just use Ubuntu server. If for most purposes, that's going to get you pretty damn far. And if you wanted to do like a desktop experience, Linux Mint is a pretty great way to start. This, again, all of these are based off of Debian. They're all, when people, the major difference that people will notice between Linux distributions, and Connor, you may disagree with this, but it's the package manager. That's going to be the major difference you're going to notice. So like if you're using an operating system like Fedora, they don't have APT. You can't go to your terminal and let me open up Ubuntu real quick so you can see. Basically, this, like other operating systems, other Linux distributions don't have the same package manager as Debian. And Debian has the apt package manager. So if you've taken any Linux classes and you ever to install stuff, you usually do the like sudo apt install, and you can get that very nice interface and searching and everything like that. A lot of package managers work the same way, but they have different quirks and so different things to learn. But generally, the APT package manager makes everything a lot easier in a Linux environment. So that's my 2 cents on that. Anyway, I think we should be copied over here. Did it even? Oh no. There it is. Cool. All right. So then I don't know if this is necessary anymore, but sometimes you need to press the eject button. Oh, it's in use. Try again. No. All right. Well, I was going to rip it out. Hopefully that's not bad. Wait, is it done? It was still transferring. Good thing I didn't do that. All right, now I can eject. Yay, okay. Take that out. And so now back to the computer. I'm on this, I'm gonna pull this over just a little bit. Need some space to put the laptop down. Yeah.
Is there a way to make sure you always have the latest version of whatever ISO is on the Ventoy device? Or you just kind of gotta go up to the sites when they come up with new.
The installer will probably prompt you. Okay. Like if I go to the Ventoy exe and I were to run it again, if it was outdated, it would probably say, hey, by the way, you're running an outdated version of Ventoy installer or whatever, and it'll prompt you to go update. But yeah, I mean, generally, if you're doing this like on a fresh USB, just go to their website, get the file. It's not that big. It's a pretty quick download. So I got my USB, I flashed Ventoy, and I've got the ISO for Proxmox on there. So I can go ahead and just plug that in. And now that I have the USB bootloader set to the USB, it should just boot directly into that. So I'm going to press F10 to save. I'm going to save the configuration. Let's try to make this a little better for y'all. So it should boot into, you can see Ventoy's loading. That's a good sign. So there's our ISO. If we had more here, it would be a list and we'd have a bunch of different, but we only have the one that we put on there. So we can go ahead and just press enter to boot into it. It's going to ask us some special modes. So for example, if you were debugging for whatever reason, this computer's hardware didn't support whatever operating system, there's definitely some things you can do to get it to boot on stuff that it's not supposed to. I installed Proxmox on a very old piece of hardware, and when I tried to boot into it, it would just, my screen was all messed up. Like it was all over the place because I didn't know how to display it. So there's things you can do to fix that. So we're just going to boot in normally, and this should hopefully be fine. Yeah, sweet. We're going to boot in. I'm actually going to plug this in real quick because I do not want it to die middle installation. So let me go see. I got that charger hopefully on me.
Quick question for Linux Mint. It says that click one of the mirrors to download the ISO. Which mirror? I've never seen that before. Does it matter?
Different people hosting the same file.
That's what I thought. It feels a little torrenty to me. That's why I was like.
Oh. Well, they do actually have smart.
Yeah, I saw that option too.
I don't have the charger on me. That's unfortunate, but it's okay.
This is a random proprietary barrel plug.
It's a ThinkPad square. Yeah. I don't know if anybody has one of those. It's a bummer. It's okay. We'll still be okay. I'm sure this battery can last. It's brand new. It shouldn't die on me. All right, we're just gonna go ahead and boot into the graphical installer right here. I don't recommend doing this, by the way. Installing an operating system with the computer not plugged in.
Gotcha.
This is unadvised. But
What do you mean?
I mean, what's the worst that can happen? I don't know. Like, yeah, it is probably fine.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, you're right. That is what happens. But you are going to royally mess up whatever drives on there for the time being. So.
Hello.
So what it's doing right now is I think it's trying to get some internet access. It is expecting to be plugged directly into a network, which may prove to be an issue, actually, now that I think about it. Maybe this is not the best operating system to demo. Usually with Proxmox, you're supposed to kind of like, sorry, you can't really see what's happening here. Let me use my mouse. You're supposed to install, you're supposed to actually have it plugged into Ethernet. It's expecting to be plugged into a network already. So it got a little confused and it's probably gonna yell at me like, hey, why am I not seeing anything right now? So I'm gonna go ahead and go over to, this is the EULA. We've got, let me think. I might actually just plug my, I don't think there's enough USB ports on this thing, unfortunately. There is not. All right, well, this was unprepared for. Maybe Proxmox isn't the best one to use just because it's not gonna work as intended. I can't show you the rest of the functionality. So I'm actually gonna back out. Proxmox is pretty straightforward. You do just kind of go through here. It's asking, it's kind of hard to see, but basically it's asking right here. Can I focus? Not quite. All right, well, what?
Fire up my Proxmox
Yeah, if you want to, yeah. Then you can kind of demo how that works. But yeah, essentially what it's asking for right here is like, what drive do you want it to install onto? It gives me two options. One of them is that this one's going to be the bottom one right here. You can't really read. That is the USB drive. The top one right here, that is the SSD that's on this computer. So you would want to select the SSD because that's what you want to install it. You want it to be persistent after it is gone, and you don't want to overwrite the ISO that you're downloading from. In this case, it's asking what country. We're going to put in United States, and it gives us a little drop-down list. And then what time zone, we would select Los Angeles right here, and then US English as the keyboard layout. And then, yeah, we would set a password here. So we're going to set a very secure password as a password. And yeah, we're going to go ahead and continue. Oh, needs a valid email address. Okay, we're mail.example.com. Sweet. All right, that works. And then it's recognizing our Wi-Fi right here. Proxmox does not have support for connecting to Wi-Fi, so it's not going to let me continue past this point, unfortunately. So I can't demo the rest of the installation without getting a better environment set up. I don't have enough USB ports on this currently right now to facilitate that, and also I don't think it's going to last very long. So what we're going to do instead is we're going to demo a different Linux installation. So you can just go ahead and power it off at this point. No harm, no foul. And we're going to go ahead and bump back to this computer, and we're going to grab a different ISO to test out. I think, what sounds interesting? Do we want to see what Debian looks like? Ubuntu? Linux Mint? All right. Let's go for it. So I'm going to go ahead and head over to their download page. They've got a couple different options here. Yeah.
So if you do install Proxmox on a server, it has to be plugged into your Ethernet.
Yes. Yeah. It would be unadvised to do that. There are workarounds to get it to work over Wi-Fi. The thing about servers and Proxmox is because it's hosting a website, it wants consistency, and it makes sense to have consistency just because if you were, for example, I don't know, like you want to know that the website's going to lead to the same place, if that makes sense. Like if I go to this, am I even connected on Tailscale? Let me check real quick.
I got
should
started
be.
up if you want to mention on Proxmox.
Is it displaying off of your computer?
I can go into Teams there.
Okay, that
Or
works.
if you want to take it up there.
Here, I'll just show you real quick. I'm just going to answer your question before. This is a fine example. I make this static. So you have dynamic and static. Do you know of the DHCP protocol?
Yes.
So you can ask a router and it gives you a new IP. You wouldn't want your server to do that because then a lot of services will require that like it knows where it's leading to, for example. So it's like, I know home is 192.168.1.106. And so if you were to change that, for example, it can be kind of an issue because it's going to go there, it's going to see there's nothing here, there's no computer hosted, and your service is going to freak out. And so when you use Wi-Fi, it's possible to have a static IP, it is, but Wi-Fi is unreliable, and if unreliability wasn't just the sole issue, it is unsecure. Your device is actively transmitting, radio signals within your house or wherever it is that can be picked up by any device. It doesn't have to be directly connected to the hardware. You can sit next to it. There's tons of software you can just listen in and just see the packets flowing. Of course, most of the traffic should be encrypted, but still, that's like, why have it, otherwise, like, how likely is it going to happen? Not really, but like, it's best practice. Just use an Ethernet cable. If the device doesn't support it, they often have these little dongles. I have one, so I mean, I could demo. I don't think this laptop's going to survive without much power to it to demo anything else. Oh, well, you know what? I do have another laptop. I'm going to double check just to see I'm not blind. Yeah, well, I have the adapter right here. So if your computer doesn't have it, you can get a little USB to Ethernet adapter, and that'll work just fine. As long as it's directly connected in some way, that is going to be better than Wi-Fi. And just a lot of server software doesn't really support Wi-Fi because it's expected. The industry standard is to have been plugged in via Ethernet. Does that kind of answer your question?
Also, Betco carries those as well. And here in Bellevue, it's in the radio, the like mom and pop Radio Shack here. Really good.
Oh, the
Betco? Yeah.
So I'm going to go ahead and grab a version of Linux Mint. They've got a couple different options. The difference between these are going to be the desktop operating system or the desktop environment that it is using. For most intents and purposes, just use Cinnamon. It's going to be the easiest to pick up and play. Actually, I might go for a lightweight one just because it's going to be smaller, not that much. All right, well, guess we'll just go with Cinnamon. If you're running on really outdated hardware, I would recommend using XFCE just because it is very lightweight. But this is going to be a nice experience. So I'm just going to go ahead and grab one from a US hoster. Hopefully this is that's dead. Try this one.
This is the very first world one that worked for me.
Oh, this is kernel.org. Seems fine. It's downloading at a steady rate. Yeah, that's a bummer. I was not prepared to get this up and off the ground. Let me see if I can get another laptop set up because I know this one is toasted. It doesn't have a Linux installation that actually works on it, so this might work better. And I can charge this one because I do have the charger for it.
If you have a torrent client installed, that might download the ISO faster than a mirror. But
I do. Yeah, okay, I'll try that. Let me see.
I don't know if PC Network would do anything to it.
Am I blind? Oh, there it is. All right. Go ahead and grab this. If anybody hasn't torrented before, usually get a torrent file or a magnet link, and then you can go ahead and just add it in there. I'm gonna go ahead and just open it up. And somewhere here. Am I blind? Look right there. Cool. All right. Select. Download. Okay. Yeah, this will probably be quicker. You are correct. But well, we'll see. They'll be racing. What was I doing? I was getting this laptop set up. Yes. Okay. Go grab. Sorry, I know this is not the most exciting session for people. I was definitely caught off guard on that little computer dying on me.
I think it's setting realistic expectations for a first time Linux install.
That is true. Nothing ever goes correctly. You're always fighting uphill on something. That's not gonna work. All right.
You need USB or?
I'm just going to use this charger right here. My laptop will survive. This actually might have power on it. It does. So we're going to do a proper installation of Linux with the computer plugged in to power, so it's not going to die on us. You can actually see I do have something installed on this. I tried to get this version of Linux called Bazite running, and oh right, sorry, my bad. Thank you. It does not work. It will load in. It looks all pretty and says, "Oh, yeah, everything's all good," and then it'll just hang. Oh. So it's not broken. I can still access the UEFI, but it does not boot into any operating system.
Does it need the Surface kernel?
I have no idea.
I think it's running a gaming kernel, I assume.
The Linux kernel works fine as is. I don't need to use the new, like a specific version for this hardware. But yeah, so the way to get into this one is I hold it's very similar to like a phone. There's a volume up button here, and there's a power button. And you hold these two, and you hold them together until it gets into the BIOS or UEFI screen.
Is that a Surface?
This is a Surface laptop, yes. Don't recommend installing Linux on this. Don't get a device. If you're going to install Linux, don't use one of these. This is meant for Windows. It's very irritating to use Linux on it. But you can kind of see it does have a similar boot screen right here. We have the current, I wish this thing would focus, but we've got Fedora, we've got the USB storage. You can see it even has a couple of the older operating systems that I had installed on here. But I'm just going to go ahead and edit this. It's a very fancy BIOS. Not a lot of BIOSes let you do that. So if I go back to, yeah, I'm still plugged in. Okay. Let's see. Linux Mint still downloading. Ah, boy, you were right, Connor. That is definitely the way to go. So we should have it installed or downloaded. So then.
Just keep it torrent, check the hash.
Not automatically. Should I? Let's go through it. Why not?
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. I don't usually do it because I'm not a very secure person, but this is a good practice to go through. Do you know the commands in Windows to generate a hash?
If you right-click the file, it's able to do. I think 7's able to at least.
We did this in class.
Oh, really?
Get file hash in PowerShell.
Okay. I'm jumping around. There's too many screen things on my screen.
Get file hash or get file dash hash. I can't remember. But if you press tab, no, it's only one dash for sure.
Yeah, get dash file hash.
And then just provide the path to the hash or to the file.
So does anybody know what's happening right here? Do you know what we're doing? So there's, if you go to the website, actually, it has a hash. So cancel. I don't want to open that up. We go back. Nope. Go here. Download. Somewhere here. I saw it. There it is. Sweet. So we have this. Is there even a verify button right here? Yeah, it even tells you how to do it. So there's a built-in Linux, but let's go ahead and just grab this. Do you want this right here? I should actually have Ubuntu open, so I can actually just go ahead and travel over to this. And I can go to, and then, it's not the right folder. There we go. And then it's going to be this. And then, yeah, so we can actually just follow through with this. So we're going to want to go ahead and grab this text file right here. We could probably just save it. It's easier to do that. I will explain what's happening real quick, but I'm just going to get this set up so we can demo. So we should get a hash from this. So we do. We got a little hash right here. We're going ahead and copy this. That's not going to work. There we go. All right. Should have our sum and hash. So we can go ahead and cat, and we can manually do it. We can kind of see that it looks like it's right. I think we're good, but let's go ahead and just do that command that it gave us right here, which was I think it even just works right here. So that's going to be generating. Does anybody know how to do the comparison? Like, so you don't have to like look line by line to see if it matches, or do you just use your eyes and just say it's good?
Just use by your eyes. I mean, if it's been changed, the file hash should be wildly different. I wouldn't start with CZF48.
I got you. So we're gonna just actually, why not? So what these two represent is, it's SHA-256 is an algorithm that generates a unique identifier for whatever it is. It doesn't have to be just an ISO, it could be an image, it could be whatever file on your computer. The purpose of doing this is so if I download something from a website, it is different. It's not the same. No, it's missing the F at the end. Yeah, no, I just added an extra one.
Yeah.
But
Well, no, it's supposed to be a capitalized F at the end.
and I didn't grab it. My bad. But basically, this identifier the server that we downloaded it from gave us one, and then we're checking it with our ISO. And since they match, well, we downloaded the right file. We didn't get an altered one. So that's the whole point of going through this whole practice. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yes.
Sweet. All right, so then we have that ISO. We're gonna go ahead and grab our drive real quick and go ahead and drag our ISO over. Oh no, this is gonna shut down. Don't do that, stop. Okay. All right, come on. There you go. All right, we're gonna just go ahead and copy this over. And while it's doing that, does anybody have any questions about what's happening, what we're doing? Cool. Oh yeah? Oh.
Yeah, it's looking pretty positive.
I'll be checking in with you. Oh, what else can I talk about while we're waiting for this to go? It's not the most interesting thing watching a status bar, but we'll just let that go. Yeah.
You can see it at 2:30. I got another club.
Oh, I got you. Where you going?
Board game.
Nice.
I think I actually might become the treasurer of that club as well.
Oh, hell yeah.
Because honestly, same, but it's also something I can utilize if I do get into the tabletop industry to show that I'm trying to be proactively a part of the community. So.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
That's pretty sweet.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And the grand premiere of the club last Thursday was phenomenal. I got to play that card game I told you about, the Zone. We played like the scientist, like in the movie Annihilation. And it even had like 2 new people play it, and one of them even messaged on the Discord saying how much they had fun specifically playing that game because we really got to the role-playing aspect of it and everything. And yeah, I was very proud of that, not gonna lie.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. I really want to play it. It looks like a very cool game.
It's a lot of fun. I actually found out specifically for that game, you can actually play it for free on the manufacturer's website by yourself.
What's it called?
The Zone. Because it's like a narrative.
That's probably not the right one.
role-playing game. Yeah, no, not that. Card game. Right. That's it.
Oh, there it is.
But you essentially just pick like a character archetype, your obsession, which is what you focus your like.
Oh, you could have multiple people play on the website with you, huh?
Yep, it's super dope. It's so much fun. It's not even funny. Like we really got into it.
Dang.
Yeah, dude.
That's cool.
And watching like Annihilation or Beneath, Event Horizon, stuff like that will kind of get you into the mindset of this game. They even have like a whole list of recommendations because they even recommend the book trilogy, the Southwest trilogy for this game to like get into that mindset. That's the book trilogy that Annihilation came from. Yeah, dude, I love this game.
That's cool.
That's your fate card. So everybody who plays gets a fate that's based off of your call sign. So whatever letter you're attached to. And that determines who's alive at the end to get their greatest wish fulfilled. Yeah, you can like make it PG-13, R-rated, whatever the vibe is of the group you're playing with. I played the soldier. My obsession was I was resentful of my chain of command, and I was my goal was to rise in the ranks of the military. And so like a lot of my motivation like would have me running headfirst into danger to try to capture something that was a part of the zone to bring it back to get the promotion.
Ooh, like the name that I came up with.
Yeah. And honestly, this is just a really good like introductory role-playing game.
Mm,
I haven't messed with the graphic interface. That's pretty dope. We got the little firefly on there. Oh yeah, your phobia. My phobia was my chain of command. And my obsession was getting rank.
I'm not very creative. Okay. It's meant to be played with. You can't really play. You could play by yourself, I guess.
Yeah, you can. It's all solo.
It looks kind of like an upgraded Jackbox game.
What's Jackbox? I've heard of that.
For your browser.
Oh, got you. I have not played that actually.
These are pretty dang fun.
On Xbox.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Like Drawful
I've never
and-
played those.
Yeah, they're a good time.
$25 is free.
Yeah, they're really expensive.
Oh, there's more.
This is the
wow.
one that I played the most, though. I played this T-shirt battling
Trivia
game
Murder Party. Yeah.
more than I had, and this one too. That's a pretty good one. I like these games. Those are good times.
Spent money. This is all virtual?
You run on your computer, and then
Yeah.
it basically generates this like a code. Yeah.
Tabletop simulator?
Yeah, you enter like a 4 code and then your name on your phone or your computer or whatever, and you can just go ahead and join the game.
Okay.
And so,
Some of them are drawing, some of them are trivia, some of them are like mafia kind of games. There's a whole bunch.
You have to have internet connection for them?
yes, yeah, you do. I think we're good. Yeah, I think we got Linux Mint moved over, so we should be able to just go ahead and eject this and put it in the computer. I'm going to switch back over to the screen so we can see. There we are. All right, so we've got the USB storage set. And I'm going to go ahead and plug this in. Sweet. And we'll go ahead and save and exit. And it should boot from the USB. Yeah, this screen is a little easier to see than the other one. So there's our Ventoy. Now we have 2 ISOs. You can see we got the Linux Mint and the Proxmox. Go ahead and just select this. Normal mode. Should boot in okay. And then this is really tiny. I don't think you're going to be able to see this. This is Grub. This is a bootloader. This is basically impossible to see. It says start 64-bit, start compatibility mode. There's a bunch of different options. There's even a memory test right here, which that's very useful. If you ever have memory issues, run a memory test from an ISO from Linux, or you can go get it. It's called memtest 86 is usually what they use.
Windows has one too.
Windows has one built in. Okay, I did not. Yeah, they do have some debug tools. Yes.
In the the menu you get into to put into safe mode, I think there's a memory test somewhere in there.
No.
I think. I'm not 100% certain.
If you have weird memory problems, your computer's crashing, and it have a lot of memory-related errors, you can run that, and you can see how bad it is. Because I had that happen once, and I was like, "What is going on?" And I ran it, and I'm like, "Yeah, your memory is like half of it's totally toasted." And I'm like, "Oh, that's nice to know." So I had to buy a new memory. But weirdly enough, I think that's usually like one of the last things to go on computers, in my opinion. Like in general, but like in my experience, it's been the one thing that's crippled a lot of my computers. Bad memory.
Memory off TikTok.
I mean, if it works,
We
right?
like had a shop on TikTok and they're offering like 75% off their normal like rates. So I got 64 gigabytes of RGB RAM for like $16. DDR4 3200.
Didn't it like implode or nothing?
Huh?
It didn't implode or
No,
catch
it
fire?
works perfectly fine.
That's wild. Nice.
And the nice part about Linux Mint is it is a live boot ISO, which means that it directly drops you into Linux. So we're on a desktop environment. You can go open Firefox. Yes. It's going to take its sweet time, though, because it is booting from that USB, and this thing is very old by the looks of it. That USB 2 speed right there is pretty dang quick. Get it out of the way. So, to permanently install it, there's this little desktop or a little icon right here. It says Install Linux Mint. We would go ahead and just double-click that, and it opens up the installer for us.
Thank you, Liam.
Yeah, of course. I'll see you around, Jonah.
Can you click this screen?
Oh, sorry. I keep clicking it. There we go. I hope the internet's still on. Yep, it is. Okay, we're good. We're chilling.
Switch camera.
Stop.
Clicking somewhere else inside of Teams.
There you go. All right, I'm gonna get us connected to the internet. So we're just going to go ahead and connect. Yeah, again, not an advised thing. I'm installing an operating system on a public Wi-Fi, so it's definitely a move for sure. Not one that most people would recommend, though.
At least you have a sturdy password.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, this is definitely probably not the best USB to use. It's going, it's doing its thing. So these are codecs. I don't know if we don't really need these. This is just, you would get these. It's going to take a while to install if we do. What these are for is like running specific videos or files or whatever on your computer. And my camera just got disconnected. Joy. There we go. Nope, we're not good. Technology, am I right? There we are. Cool, now we're back. Sweet. So if you had issues, you can install these afterwards. These are not necessary. We're getting all the printers. That's great. There's a lot of printers.
Let's print out a bunch of pictures of video. They'll be like in the middle of their healthcare classes, they'll be like in the middle of the test, like, huh, who's this guy?
So this is an important section. It's asking, this one kind of, the Linux Mint abstracts a lot of this for you. You could see there was a little more options for Proxmox off the bat, but this is basically saying erase the disk and install Linux Mint, which is what we're going to want to do, but I'll go ahead and just show advanced. Yeah, you can use an LVM, which is logical. I can get into that, not super necessary right now. You could do something else, and that'll give you more options as to like if you were to like have Windows installed in this, for example, and you wanted Linux, you could choose, oh, I only want a portion of this disk to have. So you could technically have 2 operating systems installed. That is possible. I've done it before. I did it on this computer. But yes, for intensive purposes, if you were going to go to Linux, it's just better to just do Linux. If you do both, they do work, but it's going to be a bit of a headache because Windows likes to mess with other operating systems if they're installed on the same disk. So if you had 2 separate disks, for example, you could install Windows and Linux on each, and then just choose from your BIOS which one you wanted to boot into. But anyway, that's a super long side tangent. I'll just skip ahead. So continue. You can see the size of the disk. It's going to double check. You can even see here there's that USB drive, the 32 gigabyte one, and then our SSD. We're just going to select the SSD, go ahead and install onto it, and yep, just checking to make sure we want to do that. Yep, we do. And now it's just going to go through the setup process. Very similar. We saw this in Proxmox. What's the time zone? This is actually surprisingly important for a lot of operating systems, like what time zone are you using? We're just going to go ahead and do a very, very secure setup right here of the user. Student. It's going to default to some random computer name, which is very intelligible. Well, I guess we're just going to do student. Why not?
PC.
PC. Yeah. How about my PC? There we go. That's pretty nice. And then, of course, a very secure password.
Totally secure PC.
Think outside the box.
And then we're just going to have it log in automatically. Why even prompt the user to log in with a password? It seems very silly. So yeah, it's just going to go ahead and go through the setup process here. I mean, we're in the
SSH into your user. We don't need a password.
I don't know if that does it for SSH, but if you were to like get into my computer and like get to the screen right here with the keyboard and mouse and whatnot, you could just go right in and do what you want. But we're at the shell right here.
What's
So
the IP address?
let's see.
Let's see if that works.
Let's see what my IP is right now. So I'm very, very hard to read. 10.12.186.248. I don't think you're going to be able to see me. They usually set public Wi-Fi up pretty smart now. But yeah, we could even, pretty sure we can install stuff. Just something real quick.
I can ping you.
There we go. That'll be real small.
But yes, I cannot.
Yeah, okay, so I can just install. Oh, it's even installed by default. That's cool. This is a fun program. If you ever get Linux and you want something fun to start, just get the NeoFetch. It prints out a nice little thing that tells you what operating system you're running and the specs about your computer. So you can see there's the device type. It's a Surface Laptop 3. We've got even the processor that it's running, which is an i7 at 3.9 gigahertz, and how much memory I have, along with even more stuff, like what's the window manager, and what's the desktop environment, and what resolution am I running at, and all sorts of computery stuff. But yeah, this is called NeoFetch. There's, it's outdated, it's not supported anymore, so if you're gonna want to get something, you're probably gonna want to get, let me see if I can make this a little bigger for people.
Do you know what the author of NeoFetch is doing now?
I don't.
He retired to become a potato farmer.
What's up?
Yeah. So all of his repos on GitHub are now archived.
That's fun.
Just delightful. Good for him.
Yeah.
I'm jealous.
Yeah. I can't wait to have my potatoes on.
That's how you know you've made it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if you're like, I'm done. Oh, it's not there. Oh, well, I would recommend getting fast fetch. It's pretty safe to go ahead and recommend.
I think so. I don't know. It's written in Rust, therefore it's awesome.
Ah. Isn't Ubuntu switching? There was some component of it they're switching over to Rust. That's like a pretty major thing. It's the sudo. Yeah. Oh, that's pretty cool.
We can see Liam's screen on Teams. The reflection.
Oh, fast fetch is actually C. I don't know which one I was thinking of. That's Rust.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
See you, Sonia. I mean, I guess, I don't know. I could open up SSH. It's not even installed.
Install OpenSSH.
What does that mean?
I think it's start or systemctl start SSH or view service is like service SSH start or something.
I'm assuming it's because it's not happy that there's no users on this computer.
Oh.
It's still going through a little installation process, so we'll let that keep going.
You scroll to the left on logs.
On this one?
To the right with the SSH logs. Is it just mad that you restarted quickly? Oh, yeah, okay.
Restart company. Sorry. Mint at mint.
Did the logs say anything?
Would that be in the
Terminal CTL dash U SSH.
did it spat that out earlier, right?
Yeah.
Oh no, it's gone. All right. Well, what was it again?
Journal CTL. No, the journal CTL all one word. No S.
Is it spitting it out in my home or like the root?
Oh no, journal CTL is a command.
Oh, okay.
JOURN. I can't spell. There's
I'm definitely
S,
not spelling that right.
No S after the L. Journal singular CTL. Yeah, and that's all your logs. But if the dash U or dash unit, and then the SSH will give you just the SSH logs.
This is a new command to me.
Yeah. System B handles most logs, and that's how you use system.
No such file directory. All right, so it just hasn't created it yet. That's the.
Oh yeah, that's the same thing.
Well, maybe the.
Well, hey, at least it'll probably work after a fresh restart. Why not? So we're gonna go ahead and go in here.
Maybe something funny to do with ISO being immutable or something like that. I don't know.
A lot of Linux installations will prompt you to remove the USB drive after it's done installing, just so you don't boot from the installation media again. So that's a nice feature that they have. But yeah, we freshly installed Linux Mint on this, and it should just work right out of the box.
I love how Windows is still there.
Now, Windows is permanently etched into this computer. It cannot be removed. They actually, it's just like a little chip in there that has Windows that'll, no, I'm just kidding.
Windows never dies.
Windows is permanent on these machines. So, I'm not sure why I was trying to do SSH, because I don't think you're going to be able to access anything.
DC blocks SSH, right?
Not that it wouldn't block it, it's just that you couldn't see me. You wouldn't even be able to see my IP address. So I'm curious though, because we can do an Nmap scan, why not, right? So I'm going to install Nmap, and then of course provide it my very secure password, which I'm not going to get right the first time, of course. Yep. There we go. Now I know how to spell. I'll go ahead and install that. I'm going to make this bigger for everybody so you can see. So this and oh no. All right, well, now that it's installed, I don't care that it's not plugged in. Should be okay. Swap over to this. Okay. Uh-oh. Nmap not installed. No dice. I'm not sure why.
Try apt-get instead. Or maybe just not able to access it through VCs.
Are you logged into the Wi-Fi?
You know what? I didn't check. That makes a lot of sense. I'm on somebody's, That's very interesting. I don't even know how that happened. Why was it showing, why was it highlighting that I was connected to somebody's little hotspot? This should work now. Yeah, well, what do you know? Connecting to the internet to download things? That makes sense.
Now try OpenSSH. It probably wasn't able to download that.
So let's do the, actually let's find out what subnet we're on. I always like to do this just to see how secure what I'm connected to is. So it looks like it's 10, 12, 00, 16. SN. There are those printers again. Let's do its thing. Actually, that's more or less all I was really going to cover today. I don't have a lot else going on here. This was kind of off the cuff. Hey, I don't have anything planned because what I had planned didn't work out. So yeah, that is installing Linux from USB. Yeah, thanks for showing up.
Realistic depiction.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm surprised we were able to do something at all. So I'm happy that happened. But yeah, that's all I really got. So I think I'm gonna head out to the makerspace. You wanna join us?
Sure.
I'm gonna go test to see if what is broken with my computer right before, so because I got some stuff for it, but yeah.
It had depression.
It got sad. My computer got sad and stopped working.
Are you doing it in the makerspace?
We're gonna use a multimeter and see if my power supply is dead or if my CMOS battery is dead. So, if you want to
It told me
join.
that it's in the back room, so it should still be there.
Yeah. I mean, I can just go ask, I'm sure. So it looks like it's pretty secure. You cannot see other hosts on this network. I guess you can. Interesting. Because I'm getting host unreachable, which is not necessarily that you can't. Interesting. Well, cool. That's cool. All right.
Is it just not booting at all, your computer?
Which one?
The one that
It won't turn on. There's no power to it.
Does CMOS matter? Prevent that?
Yeah, apparently I'm reading. I was reading on the on the. Anyway, I'm gonna stop the recording. Thanks for showing up online, folks. Everybody's gone. All right, I'm talking to nobody. I keep doing that a lot, don't I?
There was one person, but
There was, I think there were two separate.
There were two people. I think they headed out though.